Welcome back friends in one more video on hypothesis testing, and in this lecture we will discuss common terms used in various kind of hypothesis testing. First of all, we must know null and alternate hypothesis, which are two most important terms used in various kind of testing. A hypothesis in general is an assumption that is yet to be proved with sufficient piece of evidence. A null hypothesis, therefore, is a hypothesis a researcher is trying to prove or disprove. We can define null hypothesis in various ways, such as the null hypothesis is a general statement that states that there is no relationship between two phenomena under consideration, or that there is no association between two groups. Or in other words, we can define a null hypothesis as a hypothesis capable of being objectively verified, tested, and even rejected. The null hypothesis should always be a specific hypothesis. It means it should not state about or approximately a certain value. This is the symbol used for the null hypothesis, and it is read as H null, H0 or H0. The null hypothesis is usually associated with just equal to sign, as a null hypothesis can either be accepted or rejected. When to reject a null hypothesis? Rejection or acceptance of null hypothesis is totally depends upon p-value. When the p-value of the data is less than the significance level of the test, the null hypothesis is rejected, which indicates that the test results are significant. However, if the p-value is higher than the significant value, the null hypothesis is not rejected and the results are considered not significant. In general, we take the level of significance at 5%. It means that the researcher is willing to take as much as a 5% risk of rejecting the null hypothesis. Alternative hypothesis. An alternative hypothesis is a statement that describes that there is a relationship between two selected variables in a study. The alternative hypothesis is usually used to state that a new theory is preferable to the old one or null hypothesis. The alternative hypothesis is the hypothesis that is to be proved that indicate that the result of a study are significant, and is that the sample observation is not results just from chance but from some non-random causes. For example, if a study is to compare method A with method B about their relationship, and we assume that the method A is superior or the method B is inferior, then such a statement is termed as an alternative hypothesis. Alternative hypothesis should be clearly stated considering the nature of the research problem, and the symbol of the alternative hypothesis is either H1 or HA while using less than, greater than, or not equal to sign. The alternative hypothesis is based on the concept that when sufficient evidence is collected from the data of random sample, it provides a basis for proving the assumption made by the researcher regarding the study. This is the comparative table for null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. I request you all, please pause this video over here and try to understand the basic difference between null and alternative hypothesis. Type 1 versus type 2 errors in hypothesis testing. Hypothesis and alternative hypothesis are mutually exclusive and all-inclusive. We have a situation where one is true and another is automatically false. In a situation when null hypothesis is true, alternative hypothesis is false. And if we accept null hypothesis, we have done the right thing. But if we reject null hypothesis, we have made an error. And this type of mistake is called a type 1 error. Therefore, we can define type 1 error is a probability of rejecting a true null hypothesis. Whereas in another situation, when null hypothesis is false, then alternative hypothesis is true. In this case, if we reject null hypothesis, we will do the right thing. But if we will accept the null hypothesis, we will make an error. And this second type of mistake is called a type 2 error. Therefore, type 2 error is the probability of accepting a false null hypothesis. Critical value. A critical value is a line on a graph that splits the graphs into sections. One or two of the section is the rejection region. If our test value falls into that region, then we reject the null hypothesis. Or we can define the critical value as a point or points on the scale of the test statistic beyond which we reject the null hypothesis and is derived from the level of significance alpha of the test. Various types of critical values are used to calculate significance, including t-score from student t-test, chi-square and z-test. In each of these tests, we will have an area where we are able to reject the null hypothesis and an area where we cannot reject the null hypothesis. The line that separates these two regions is where your critical values are. For example, in this image, the critical values are at 1.28 or minus 1.28. The blue area is where we must accept the null hypothesis, and the red areas are where we can reject the null hypothesis. How large each area will be, it totally depends on many factors, including our chosen confidence level and our sample size. Significant testing is used to figure out if our results differ from the null hypothesis. P-value. It is another quantitative measure for reporting the result of a test of hypothesis. The p-value is the probability of the test statistic being at least as extreme as the one observed given that the null hypothesis is true. A small p-value is an indication that the null hypothesis is false. The critical value and the p-value approach to the hypothesis testing. In order to make a decision whether to reject the null hypothesis, a test statistic is calculated. The decision is made on the basis of numerical value of the test statistic. There are two approaches how to derive at the decision: the critical value approach and the p-value approach. First, we will discuss critical value approach. In a two-sided test, the null hypothesis is rejected if the test statistic is either too small or too large. Thus, the rejection region for such a test consists of two parts, one on the left and one on right side. For a left-tailed test, the null hypothesis is rejected if the test statistic is too small. Thus, the rejection region for such a test consists of one part which is left from the center. Whereas for the right-tailed test, the null hypothesis is rejected if the test statistic is too large. Thus, the rejection region for such a test consists of one part which is right from the center. P-value approach. For the p-value approach, the likelihood p-value of the numerical value of the test statistic is compared to the specific significance level alpha of the hypothesis test. A p-value close to 0 is the evidence against the null hypothesis. If the p-value is less than or equal to the specified significance level alpha, the null hypothesis is rejected. Otherwise, null hypothesis is not rejected. In other words, if p equal to or less than alpha, we reject null hypothesis. Otherwise, if p value is more than alpha, we do not reject null hypothesis. In consequence, by knowing the p-value, any desired level of significance may be assessed. For example, if the p-value of a hypothesis test is 0.01, the null hypothesis can be rejected at any significance level larger than or equal to 0.01. It is not rejected at any significance level smaller than 0.01. Thus, the p-value is commonly used to evaluate the strength of the evidence against the null hypothesis without reference to significance level. The following tables provides a basic guidelines for using the p-value to assess the evidence against the null hypothesis. Degree of freedom. Degree of freedom refers to the maximum numbers of logically dependent value, which are values that have the freedom to vary in the data sample. Degrees of freedom are commonly discussed in relation to various forms of hypothesis testing in statistics. The easiest way to understand degree of freedom conceptually is through an example. The question is, we have to pick a set of numbers that have a mean average of 10. There may be n number of different kind of sets. Some sets of numbers you might pick like 9, 10, 11 or 8, 10, 12 or 5, 10, 15. Once you have choose the first two numbers in any of these sets, the third number is fixed. For example, if you have chosen 8 and 10, you are bound to choose 12 because you cannot choose any other number so that the mean will remain 10. Similarly, if you have chosen 5 and 10, the 15 is fixed. Therefore, you cannot choose the third item freely in this set. Only numbers that are free to vary in any of these sets are the first two numbers. And the number in a set which are free to choose is known as degree of freedom. Therefore, in this set, the degree of freedom is 2. Similarly, if we have a 10 sets of numbers that have a mean of 100, we can choose only 9 numbers of them freely. Or if we have a set of 200 numbers with a mean of 1000, we can choose any 199 number freely, but the last one is fixed and it depends on the rest of the number. So, for a set of 20 numbers, the degree of freedom will be 19, and for a set of 200, the degree of freedom will be 199. For a set of 1000 numbers, the degree of freedom will be 999 and so on. Or we can calculate degree of freedom as n minus 1. Where n is the sample size. In case if we have two samples and want to find a parameter like the mean, we have two sample size to consider as sample 1 and sample 2, and in this case the degree of freedom will be n1 plus n2 minus 2. In case of ANOVA, degree of freedom becomes a little more complicated. Instead of a simple parameter like finding a mean, ANOVA test involves comparing known mean in sets of data. There is a long list of hypothesis testing. Type of test is depend upon our aim and nature of data. For example, if we want to check difference between means of median, we have to check the number and nature of samples, such as the classification of various kind of tests to find out the difference between mean or median is depicting through this picture. Here you can see to find out the difference between mean or median, there may be different kind of hypothesis test for one sample, two sample or more than two sample. These tests may be parametric or non-parametric in nature or independent and paired in nature. For detailed understanding of all these hypothesis testing, keep on watching video lectures on this topic in this platform. Dear friends, this was the introductory video on basic terminology used in various kind of hypothesis testing. These concepts will be more clear in coming videos when we will discuss individual tests of hypothesis in detail. Till then, like and share this video, press the bell icon to subscribe my channel. Jai Hind, bye bye.